Hey guys, my name is Kacey and I'm a vocal coach and I am here to teach you how to suck less at singing. And the less you suck, the better you sound. So let's get started. Today I specifically want to talk to those of you who've been trained classically but desperately want to bridge that gap to be able to sing pop music. We're going to talk about that today.
So if you haven't watched the other videos, I highly advise it.
Hey guys, today we're going to be talking about resonance, and we've talked about a mindset shift. So we're not going to be trying things the exact same way we would be singing them in classical style, because when we're switching and we're using our different registers that require to create the ideal tone quality, kind of a different mindset, maybe even a different posture. A different way to think about how the tone is coming out of your mouth. You're not going to try and do it exactly like you would do it in classical and hope for a different result. You probably have this really great, beautiful, ideal tone quality for head voice, so we probably won't really have to work on getting your tone quality right for head voice. But you may find that wrapping your mind around how to release the sound and blend your resonators, which we're going to talk about today, to get the ideal tone quality. You're going to love the process once you kind of wrap your mind around it. So mindset, we covered that in the first video. And then the second video, we talked about your registers and how each of the 4 registers, if you're a guy, 3 if you're a girl, have an ideal tone quality.
Knowing each register's tone quality is essential to switch from classical to pop. Why? Because each register's ideal tone quality is its resonance. It's the way that it sounds. In pop style, you can take the resonance of each register and move it around. Moving the resonance out of its natural register allows us to blend and create a mix.
To create resonance and understand how resonance works, we're going to look at the resonating cavities that you have in your vocal tract. We're going to look at 3 of them. Fun fact, did you know that if we didn't all have our vocal tract, our vocal cords would kind of sound like duck quacking? That's what our vocal folds kind of sound like. The shape of your vocal tract is what actually gives your sound its unique sound, and that's kind of what's so special about your voice. Is there's not another one like it. Your voice is kind of like a fingerprint. There's no 2 that are alike. It's because of the shape and size and layout terrain of your vocal tract. And so to get the ideal tone quality for your registers, it's really important that even though all of our vocal tracts are kind of shaped differently, they have their own little flair, there are certain kind of best practices that you can do to help get the ideal tone quality for all of your registers, by being aware of your resonating cavities and kind of the posture that they all need to be in. So let's talk a little bit more about resonators. So you've got your voice box, then you've got your throat from your vocal folds up to your nasal cavity. You've got your pharynx, okay, and it's long. It's like this long tube, obviously, and sound travels in there. And so that's going to be your first resonating cavity that we're going to use to get ideal tone quality for each of our registers. The next one is your oral cavity, your mouth. It's like a cave. And then the third one is your nasal cavity. And through your registers, you're going to be using all of these resonating cavities all the time. And let me just say really quick that there are so many studies even now on resonance and how it works and how it functions. And so there's so many ideas of thought, and we're still figuring out the science behind it. So to help me navigate this and do it in a healthy way and to communicate it easily, I kind of like to think about percentages. So each register of your voice will use all 3 resonating cavities, but at different settings, kind of like a camera. Like you've got your aperture and your shutter speed and whatever the other one is. I don't really know photography or acing. So you're kind of going to do percentages. So vocal fry is just that really gravelly part of your voice, and then the next part of your range is your modal voice. And to do your modal, if you'll remember, you've got your chest voice, which is for lower pitches. They call it your chest voice because the sound vibrates off of your chest bone and whatever that's called, sternum, and so it vibrates in your chest. And as it raises, the pitch raises, the sound waves change length and height, or whatever the science is behind it, and it actually reverberates and it shifts, and those shifts are what we call our break. The Italian word is passaggio. I'm not Italian, I don't know if I said that right. So in your modal voice you have chest, your middle, kind of where it shifts, where we would call it your break, and then it switches into a ringing and a buzzing around in your head voice. Okay, so this is the part that shifting from chest to head, that's where most of our ranges, the bulk of our notes that we sing are in that range. And also where like belting happens and cool things in musical theater and jazz, cool artist style stuff happens. And everyone who's been trained classically is like, but all I have is this. How do I make it? How do I access those pieces? And you access it by thinking about your resonating cavities and the percentage that each register requires for the ideal tone quality. And when you've mastered the ideal tone quality for each register, which we're going to kind of go through chest, middle, and head for your modal voice, then you can take the essence, the posture, the blend, and move it to a different register, but keep the blend, and now you're belting. So you're taking chest voice posture but moving it higher, kind of blending it in with your nasal cavity, opening your mouth differently, and you don't have to default to a head voice, and that's how you get power. So we're gonna just do some little things to kind of demonstrate what the ideal tone quality in each register of your chest, middle, and head, how to achieve that with the blend of your resonators, and then we're going to move those blends out of what would naturally be its normal register to bridge the gap between classical and pop or jazz or any other genre style singing. Because then once you know what the ideal tone quality for each register is, then you know how to take the resonance and move it around. Then you can actually start listening to your favorite artists in your favorite genres and listen for the way it rings, because as singers, we don't just hear, but we'll feel. Like, I can tell when someone's about to hit their break, because I'm like, I can feel it because I'm hearing it, and then, or I can feel when someone really is singing correctly. I almost can feel the relaxation in the mouth, and how everything, I almost can feel it in my stomach with breathing. And so, like, as singers, we don't just hear, but we feel. When you're listening to your favorite artists and you've felt the ideal tone quality and how to move it around, you're like, oh, what? Ariana Grande is mostly like right here in her nose, oh my gosh, and then she can move it up and down, and it's like no big deal. And then you're like, okay, so I can do that. I'm allowed to do that. Resonance and artistry gives you the permission. I give you the permission to use your voice in these creative ways and use resonance to become the artist that you are meant to be.
Stay tuned, because the next video is all about warming up your registers so that you can start mixing it up.